website traffic means more sales. That is absolutely not true, and I'm going to talk you through why that is. Hello and welcome to Engage and Thrive, also known as EAT, your coffee catch-up with me, your host, Taylor, where we will go through common problems and hurdles that come up in business, marketing and advertising and try and demystify them. I know firsthand how complicated and confusing it can seem with all the different acronyms and all the things to do in business. So let me try and help you be better in business. First things first, let's start with grabbing a coffee. Okay, let's start by myth busting this. So high volume traffic to your website may look really impressive, but actually it could be so dangerous. The first thing is that traffic the right audience? And what are they doing? Are they converting? We'll go through more in the takeaways. But just to cover off as well, if anyone ever says to you they can buy you more traffic or they can get you more traffic and they buy onto these, you can buy tools that actually then has bots run to your website. It's an old black hack trick that people used to use. And it's honestly the worst thing you can do because it doesn't give you a true story about what's actually happening on your website or with your audience. And also one thing to think about is, firstly, it's irrelevant and so you're just wasting money. And secondly, it actually has a larger knock-on effect because the Google algorithm can actually lower your search results if it sees that your website traffic isn't the right traffic. So if people are coming to your website and then bouncing off it, which again we'll go through in the acronyms, Google will see that as your website traffic isn't relevant to your audience. So that then tells their algorithm not to serve your website up in search results for certain keywords, which it takes so much effort and energy to actually come up in the search results. Why would you do that? The other thing I would say is I feel like with websites, a lot of people forget that your website is your shop front, right? So if you're paying for a physical shop, you tend to almost pay more attention to a physical store and a physical shop. But your website is that. Your website is your virtual shop. So pay just as much attention. So if you had a physical shop and loads of people were walking past, but not actually coming into your store, that's the same as having lots of people viewing your website, but not actually doing anything with it. As always, let's cover off vocab. So the first one is bounce rate. So this is basically people going to your website and then bouncing off it because your content isn't relevant or your website isn't relevant to them. The aim of the game in this one is to have a lower score. So really anything over 60%, you need to be reviewing it and working out why are people bouncing off your website. The next one is CR, conversion rate. So this is people coming to your website and then taking an action from that. And we've spoken about conversion rates in other episodes when you're talking about clicking through from social media, etc. You will decide what is a conversion on your website. So for example, this might be sign up to your newsletter or make a purchase. The next one is user intent. So why is a user coming to your website and what are they doing? Again, there's tools that I'll mention further down which help you work out your user intent. The next one is CTA, to call to action, which helps with your conversion rates. Your call to actions might be learn more, add to basket, sign up to newsletter. And the last one is dwell time. So this, again, when I refer to the tools further down, it's how long people actually spend on your site and then go back to search results. So if you look up things on Google search and then you click through loads of different websites and you may open it in lots of different tabs and then you're like, nah, skim read it, not relevant, shut the tab. That's the dwell time. So it's, bouncing back to your search results because it wasn't relevant. Again, dwell time is something that actually can impact your Google ranking and the Google algorithm because obviously all of that's feeding information to the Google algorithm about how relevant your website is to those search results that someone looked for. Today we're going to go through 3 key takeaways, and this is basically what to look for or what to do to help with optimizing your website traffic to make sure that it is going to equal more sales. So number 1, quality over quantity. I don't need to repeat myself on this for many different things. It's always about quality and not quantity. So like I said, if you had a physical shop and people are walking past and actually coming in, you'd be heartbroken because you're paying for those shop assistants or the stock that you have. And the same being said for your website. You're still paying for hosting your website, potentially paying for people to actually create content for your website. So you want action from that. To give you an example, if you had 1,000 visitors a month to your website, but no action was taken, what would that say about your website, your content? You know, that would be quite heartbreaking, because 1,000 people have come to your website but not done anything with it. They haven't signed up to a newsletter, they haven't purchased anything. There's something that needs to be reviewed there. To be honest, if you had 100 people come into your website and 10 took an action, can you see the conversion is already a lot better having 100 dedicated, focused people than having 1,000 people doing nothing? So tools that you may want to use to actually review the quality of your traffic is Google Analytics, and that is a free tool with Google. All you have to do is actually just install some tracking code, which they give you really good step-by-step instructions, or you could actually ask a developer to help you do it. And then you have graphs and charts to actually see where people are coming from, what are they doing, even down to like what browser they're from, what are they coming from mobile, are they coming from desktop, etc. Another free tool is something called Microsoft Clarity. And again, you need to install it on your website with a tracking code, or a developer can help you. And they actually have heat maps to actually then see where people are going on your website, and it does recordings. So you can see what people are doing, where they're clicking off, and everything around your site. The other thing to bear in mind when I'm saying obviously quality over quantity is also the pages that you're driving your traffic to. So I think it's an automatic reaction to just give people your website homepage, your website URL, and anything you post on social media to just post it straight to your homepage. But actually, is that the right place that people need to be going for your traffic? So there's one thing, obviously, Google algorithm serving up certain search results based on your different pages. But then when you're posting content or sending content out, if it's in a newsletter, etc., think about the different pages that you have on your website and the content on it, which we'll go into in number 2, about which page you're driving your traffic to, which again will help with your user intent and the right audience driving to that page. Okay, number 2, optimization. So it's all very well me saying you have 1,000 people coming to your website and they're not doing anything, but what do you do about it? So you need to optimize, right? If you are getting 1,000 people a month and they're not doing anything, something's not matching up. So there's lots of different things you can do. The first thing is review your user experience. So have a look. How does it load on desktop? How does it load on mobile? And if obviously in number 1, you're already viewing your Google Analytics and you're seeing, okay, 80% of my traffic is coming from mobile, and then you load your website up on mobile and it's broken, well, that might be why you're losing people. The other thing is looking at your actual load speed. Again, there's lots of free tools I'll link in the show notes that you can actually look at your load speed. Then you need to think about the objective of each page, okay? And again, this is all part of your user experience. So when they go to your site and they're looking at your about page or your services, or you've written a blog, then what? What's your call to action? What are you actually doing around it? So if they're on your services and they're reading like, oh, you provide all these different services, cool, great. And then what? Is there an opportunity for them to submit a lead form or schedule a call? Or, you know, what's the actual action you want them to do on each of those pages? Because otherwise, no wonder then people aren't converting if they're just going to your website, reading it, and then can't do anything else about it. Which kind of goes hand in hand with thinking about your user experience. What's in your navigation bar? How does your navigation load? What's in your footers? What's in, you know, do you have your social handles in your footer so people can follow you on social media? Or do you have the ability for them to click to call straight away to ring you when they're on your website? What I would say with this as well is don't be afraid to look at your competitors. So everyone has competitors, and I've got a whole nother episode about reviewing competitors and what to do with competitors. But if you look at their websites, look at what they're doing, look at how they're positioning themselves, and actually what could you learn from them to use on your website? The same thing. If you're thinking about optimizing your website content, right? Or optimizing your website in totality, and your competitor is saying something on their website and you know you're different, dial up that USP on your site or on that page. The other thing, so not only looking at your competitors, but also looking at websites that you are inspired by and why you like them. Why do you go to those websites? So I've said before, I love Apple, and I love Apple's website as well. Just find it really easy to use, and it's so slick, and to be honest, it's really sexy. So I would look at that website and be like, cool, what do I like about that website? What could I use as inspiration for my website? And again, thinking about your target audience, always, what would they find inspiring, or what would they find helpful from a user experience when they're on your website? Which nicely leads into number 3, metrics. So don't only go for the vanity metric of traffic. Traffic's great, and everyone loves seeing that you're coming up in search results and that you're getting loads of traffic, your 1,000 a month. But actually, what's then the next stages of it? So again, if you're using those free tools, Google Analytics and Microsoft Clarity, you can actually then set up what's called funnels. And again, I've covered this off in a different episode. But actually, you can then see what people are doing from different actions. So from different pages, are they then going to purchase? Are they going to buy? And then look at actually how many leads you got or how many callbacks you got, and reviewing that. Again, Microsoft Clarity on your heat maps, this thing called dead clicks and rage clicks. So again, when people are clicking on your site and it's not doing anything, review all that. That's way more important as a metric to be thinking about for your website traffic than only just, yeah, well, we're getting the volume, so what? Actually, what are they then doing? Like I keep saying, this is your storefront. This is your shop front. Optimize it, measure it, and do everything you can to the best possible ability that you can do, because this is your opportunity to showcase what you're about and getting people. You've already got them to your site. Now get them to convert. And having said all that as well, just keep tracking and refining. The more you refine, the better. So obviously, if you're looking at all your different metrics each month, and then you're thinking like, okay, we can improve this, or okay, our people are coming from here, it also kind of loops back into your strategy. So if you're looking at who the audience was that came, where they're coming from, is that the right audience that you're wanting? What are you wanting them to then do on your website? And then it feeds back into your marketing loop. Okay, what do we need to refine in terms of our strategy of where we're advertising or how we're positioning ourselves? It's a whole big, beautiful circle of marketing. And then it should increase your sales. So just as a wrap up, obviously, the more traffic does not mean more sales, but the more you optimize, then the better your traffic should be. So the more sales you then should get. So traffic is just the beginning part of the whole piece of your website. And like I said, just keep refining it and optimizing and make it beautiful. And this is your website, so it's your space to do whatever you want with it. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Engage and Thrive with your host, Taylor, and see you next week.